Hey, Tom here, FlipAnything USA. So today we're going to take a look at Phil Pustejovsky's video. I think he's a mentor and a trainer or something.
Yeah.
He doesn't do a ton of videos. I've been critical of some people out there, but Phil, I haven't seen much on him, but I think he knows. I think he knows what he's doing. I think he's probably pretty good. Watched one of his videos quite a while back. I don't even remember. I did a review on it, but I don't remember having any negative thoughts about him or thinking anything that poorly of him. I thought he was pretty good for what he talked about. Darius, have you watched Phil much?
A long time ago when I was
Yeah, he was one of the earliest guys in the
on
market.
YouTube,
Yeah,
yeah.
I wish I'd have jumped in a little earlier. It was called Two Niches for 2022 Real Estate Riches. So we will take a look at this and do a little review on it. I got a book, Wake Up and Smell the Real Estate. If you're new to the channel, please check that out. It's been a bestseller on Amazon Kindle. I've been investing in real estate for the last 40 years. Done very, very well, and made my first million when I was 28, and bought my first property when I was 19, and I've been hooked ever since, and I think everyone will be. Watch this, and be sure to hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. It just takes a second to hit that subscribe, hit that like, and it helps channel a lot for the amount of effort that you put in. Let's take a watch.
Two niches for 2022 real estate riches. So how do you best position yourself so you make the most money in real estate in 2022? Well, that's what these two niches are all about. I'm also going to share with you some insight on what to watch out for as well. So without further ado, the two for 2022. Niches for riches number one in 2022 is creative real estate investing. So creative real estate investing would be working directly with sellers. So these are deals that don't involve agents, right? You're not hiring a real estate agent.
That's really half of what I've been doing for my whole life.
Top on the niche.
Yeah, that's interesting. That's kind of a new. Let's hear what he has to say. I'm going to speed him up too. He kind of talks a little slower than I think he needs to. Let's see if we can speed it up.
Agent to find a deal for you. It's not where you're going to an auction where other people know about the property and they are bidding on it. It's not that either. This is working directly with sellers. And this is an art. This is something that we have mastered over the course of the last 2 decades. And it does require a lot more skills because you're working directly with the seller. So between contracts and negotiations.
So this is interesting. He's saying he's mastered this over the last two decades. He's probably been on YouTube 2 decades. So I've been doing this actually for 4 decades. So that's when I started at 19, and I started with an owner finance deal. Yeah, this is good stuff, and I'm sure I'll have plenty to comment on.
Structuring the deals, all of that is a lot more complicated because you don't have the help of an agent or of an auction company who's handling most of that. You've got to do it all yourself. But the rewards are a lot bigger, and here's why. So why would this make so much sense in 2022? Well, keep in mind that there is incredibly low inventory levels. What are inventory levels? That's the amount of properties available for sale right now on the market, either on the MLS or, as I mentioned, some form of an auction, right? So this lack of inventory has moved a lot of what I would call traditional real estate investors, those who get their deals from agents, from auctions, from foreclosures. Those traditional investors have had nowhere else to go. They've sat around during COVID, they've been frustrated, there's no deals, there's nothing on the market, and they've eventually decided, you know what, I'm going to go the creative route too. And they've headed over to go work directly with sellers. So you have a lot of traditional investors that have now infiltrated a market that for so many years it was just me and my apprentices and a few others, and we basically dominated. So what ended up happening was when those traditional investors moved into the direct with seller space, they brought their one-trick pony move of all cash. And so, yes, are there some sellers that love all cash? Yes, but the problem is, as more and more competition goes in directly with sellers, whether it's iBuyers or non-iBuyers, but other traditional investor types, then it pushes the prices up. And so all of a sudden, we lose some of our margins. Or do we? And that's where creative real estate investing gets so exciting for 2022, despite heightened levels of competition, despite lower inventory levels, so more people going after less and less properties. This is where the creativity of financing comes in. When you understand and are able to roll out all the different types of techniques for creative real estate investing financing, such as subject to on the first mortgage and you're doing short-term owner financing with a seller, going to give them a few dollars right before closing, you're able to reduce closing costs because you create basically your own closing and everything in between. All of a sudden, you can turn a thin deal into something that makes a whole lot of money. And so why creative real estate investing is so powerful in 2022 is because it's basically the only and the best way to continue to keep those profit margins on deals when you have a lot more competition. I can offer a seller more money than a traditional investor can, sometimes even than an iBuyer can, and I'm able to keep my margins because I work out creative financing. It actually ends up helping the seller as well.
So I think what he's leading up to is the interest rate. He says he can give more money. And look, this was something I've been doing since day one as an investor. It started at 19. The reason I had to offer owner financing is because the bank wouldn't touch me. I was too young. I was 19 years old. Didn't have any credit. I'm, probably one of the earliest owner financiers, out there that really, have been very aggressive. And there's other reasons too. Right now, when I started, interest rates were like 10%. Mm-hmm. So I have a book this thick of notes that I carried at 10% from people. And so, you think about that, it's big money. Yeah. You're making 10 grand a year on $100 grand. Wow. Now you make less than $1,000. Yeah. It's nothing. Let's just keep listening to Phil.
We also have deals with complications. Those complications could include maybe a forbearance, a loan forbearance expiring. Maybe it just expired, it's going to expire in 2 months, and maybe the property will go back into foreclosure. Maybe there's something involving a probate. Maybe the probate started, let's say, 9 months ago, but no one did anything about it, and now there's only 3 months left, and now the reverse mortgage company is about to foreclose. Or maybe it's an eviction that was drawn out for a long time, and it's finally starting to finalize, but it's still in somewhat of a legal quagmire. Either way, we have a lot of deals right now, if you want to call them deals, that have complications, they have baggage. And that's also been one of the ways in which, as a creative real estate investor over all these years, we've made so much money. I like complications because that edges out a lot of competitors who can't simply flip stroke a check. Now all of a sudden they have to get into the weeds of title, and they have...
So what he's talking about is true. When people, a lot of times when people have these problems, they feel like selling is not even an option. And so they don't get it out on the market. And a lot of times an agent wouldn't know what to do with it either. Good points so far.
To work out the details. Maybe there's a bankruptcy involved, and how does that play a role in title? And how does that play a role in reselling the property? And what do you have to watch out for there? So those complications have created opportunities for creative investors like us. So when you wrap all this together, what you see is what others would look at and go, oh man, there's a lot going on here. I want it to be simple. I just want to write a check and close on a deal for all cash and get it closed quick. What I see is complications and the need for creative financing. That's our bread and butter. That's our playground. That's where we're...
So, something you learned in my class, and if you just got here, I'll show you real quick. So my channel is FlipAnything USA. I've been buying and selling real estate since I was 19 years old, when I bought my first one. And that's what really got me turned on to real estate in general. But if you get a chance, go to FlipAnythingUSA.com. Be sure to click on this. You can also take a survey, and I'll give you an assessment of be a good candidate for mentoring or not. And I've got a book, Wake Up and Smell the Real Estate, that's been a bestseller on Amazon, Kindle, and Audible. I make $7 on that book. It's not a big deal, but it could be worth $1 million to you. In my book and in my mentorship, owner financing is really a big part of the original book because that's what I really started with. And, there's so many reasons. There's so many reasons for people to go with owner financing, because people used to be able to live on their check. People used to be able to live on their money that was in their bank account. I mean, think about this right now. If you save $2 million, you put it in the bank. Well, when I was a kid, you get $200,000 a year on that. Wow. Today, less than $20,000. It's a pathetic return on income. On interest rate is so pathetic. Now, that's where it becomes the opportunity for people to owner finance. So when somebody comes to you, or when you go to buy a property, you can say, hey, you know what? I can come in and I can pay you cash, but what are you going to do with the cash? They're going to say, well, I'm going to put it in the bank, or maybe pay off a mortgage. And well, maybe they're paying off a mortgage that's 3% or something, or maybe they're just going to put it in the bank and get less than 1%. And that's where you say, hey, you know what? Why don't you carry a piece of this mortgage and I'll give you 4%, or maybe I'll even give you 5%. And one of the reasons you can give them 5% or 4% is because they're not going to finance it forever. You're not going to have to deal with appraisal fees. You're not going to have to do with, you get to make the rules yourself. And that's what he's talking about, creative financing. I always tell everybody in my class and the mentorship and the book, there are no rules. You make the rules. You and the seller can make the rules that you guys agree to and follow. And, that can be interest rates. That could be, a note for 6 months or 10 months or 12 months. It could be an interest rate of 1%. It could be an interest rate of 0%. One of my students, Eric, he did something I hadn't even done before. He got it a 0% interest rate and zero money down. So every payment he made on that property would go towards the principal. And in that case, he was buying the property for about 4 or 5, he thinks maybe 600,000 under market too. So we got a couple millionaires in the class already, and it's pretty exciting. But be sure to go to FlipAnythingUSA.com and, and subscribe to this channel. Take a minute, hit that button. It just takes a second, and you can always dump me later on if you feel like the information is flawed. Let's go ahead and get back to Phil and listen to more of what he's got to say.
We're going to make more money than others, and we're already seeing it. Of course, this was happening. This has always been a niche that's worked incredibly well. But as COVID has continued to develop into our society, we have seen more and more where this has become absolutely critical. And traditional investing almost doesn't even exist anymore. But now, even the traditional folks that are going direct to sellers, they still don't have these skills right here: the right kinds of creative financing and the right ways to handle the complicated matters. And that's where the big money comes from. Niches for riches number 2 for 2022 is mobile home conversions. Now, we know that inventory levels are at all-time lows. And from what all we can see, it doesn't appear that that's going to change much in the long time, because builders are incredibly challenged in trying to print out a bunch more properties right now. Instead, what we're seeing is not only are inventory levels low, but when you get into the more affordable price point type homes, there is basically no inventory. So we have an affordability, I would argue, crisis in America. For many people, owning a home might be just a dream for a very long time. They might be renters for a very long time. House prices have gone up so much over the last 2 years. Some areas tripled, quadrupled. And so being able to buy a home is no longer as much of an attainable dream for many people, even with low interest rates.
Yeah, and like you said, look, and I'm one of these guys that come in and just blow everybody out with cash. But when I was younger and I didn't have cash, it was very creative financing, and it still happens to some. I buy some stuff. A lot of times, people don't want to be paid off right away, and you can negotiate certain terms. There's all kinds of reasons that people may want to go a creative route. So let's keep listening.
So where are they going for that home ownership dream if they can't buy what we call a stick-built home? Many are going manufactured. They're buying a manufactured home. Now, they still need to get a loan, and they want to get one with as low of a down payment requirement as possible. So they're still going to go with an FHA loan or a conventional that may only require 5% down, or maybe they're going to go and use their VA voucher, or maybe it's a more rural area, they're going to use a USDA rural loan. They're going to use one of those subsidized by the government type loans in order to become a homeowner. And how are they going to do it? They need to buy manufactured. That's really all they're going to have left in that affordability zone.
Now, I can tell you, in some places when you get out, you can actually buy property for less than it costs to build because things are so expensive to build right now. So a lot of people, you just need to adjust to the pricing to a degree because, like Phil says, the pricing has gone way up. Well, it's gone way up to build a trailer, too, to be quite honest. I mean, you can buy a trailer, and obviously you don't have to buy the land. I think he's talking in the context of buying a trailer that's on the land, but I don't know for sure exactly where he's going with that, but there's a ton of money to be made just buying trailers that are existing that you can flip within a trailer park, and but on the land itself, one of the first when I first wrote the book, I got a check from Garrett. He sent me a copy of his check. He made $25,000 on one deal. It was a $40,000 check or $39,000 check, but he said $25,000 of this is profit. And it was on a mobile home, and he's done it several times since.
I've been seeing a lot of, in terms of like trends and stuff, a lot of investors are creating content about this mobile home renovation and flipping because it seems like
there's so many existing mobile homes.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, I come from a poor family, and I lived in a trailer park, and we live in a single wide. And in fact, my bedroom was the couch. Yeah. I had a sleeping bag behind the couch, and at night, I pull it out, roll it out. I slept on the couch.
There you go.
That was my bedroom. We'll keep watching.
But here's the problem. There's not that many manufactured. In fact, there's a lot of mobile homes. So what's the difference between mobile and manufactured? Mobile homes are going to be those that have their own title, the way a car has a title, the way a boat has a title, the way an RV has a title. So a mobile home has its own separate title. Now, it's positioned on land. Either it's going to be in a park where it pays rent, or it's going to be on its own land. And so it might be on its own land. However, it is not eligible for FHA or conventional or VA financing or USDA rural financing because it's technically not real property. It's not manufactured, it's mobile. So I don't
know if that's true. I think that if you set it on blocks, if you set it on a slab or basically some sort of foundation, take the wheels off, you can get the loan. It's in the context of getting the land with it. But maybe, it's not something I do a ton of.
Yeah.
A terrific video on exactly how to convert a mobile home into a manufactured home. Please watch that video if you
Well, that might be take the wheels off
Yeah,
what I
what
just
you just
described, to be quite honest. So he's holding that as a prize to share. But
it's on assignment. I take you inside a mobile home. I show you the whole deal and what I did. Okay, so mobile home conversions. It's all about the affordability crisis. Now, this is a little different from here. You can actually buy properties in a traditional sense, as I have done the last 2 years. During COVID, I bought properties off the MLS, just paid cash for them, and they were mobile homes that I knew I could convert, and it was kind of easy, actually. So you can go the traditional route here. Now, the problem is you do have to have the cash. Whereas with creative real estate investing, although there is some expenses in marketing and finding deals, you can get into this relatively inexpensively. Here, you need the cash. It's very difficult to find a hard money lender who's willing to fund a mobile home conversion because the mobile home has its own title. It's not until it gets converted that now it's manufactured. And so most hard money lenders want nothing to do with this. Now, those in my apprentice program, I fund these deals because I do these deals myself, but that's also because I work directly with those apprentices and I know exactly what's going on in the deal. I'm able to mitigate those risks as a hard money lender better than most hard money lenders could ever do. Okay, so this is more traditional. You're looking on the MLS in many cases, but hey, if you want to generate off-market leads as well, all the better, right? If you want to go directly to sellers with mobile home conversion deals, all the better. The problem, though, is it's difficult to really target those. There's not really any great ways to do it. You market heavily for motivated sellers. You market for sellers, and then you might have a few come through. Now, you may also say, Phil, I'm not in an area where there are any mobile homes. Okay, well, that would kick out this niche too. Or maybe you can drive a little bit further rural and find them. But this right here, this is an absolute home run because affordability almost no longer exists in the housing world in our country. And when you can bring an affordable home, again, some of these are 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, you can get those into a position where someone can get an FHA loan on them. It's gone. I mean, it's...
Yeah, here's something else. In fact, I remember somebody told me they could get as much renting a mobile home, like to a HUD family, that somebody that's available for HUD. They were getting as much for buying a mobile home in a park, paying, pretty low, like at that time, probably $70,000 or something. It's probably a lot more now, but they'd get $1,000 a month for that home, and they wouldn't get much more for a house that they pay 3 times as much for.
Wow!
So there's definitely, and even the students in my class, they're buying whole parks. They're buying whole mobile home parks, and RV homes too. RVs are everybody's going to this mini house craze, right? What do they call it? Tiny homes.
Yeah.
So what do you think so far?
I like it. I mean, it's interesting. Like you said, the creative financing, that's something, we talk about a lot. But recently, like I was saying, just in doing research for content for our channel, I've been stumbling across a lot of mobile home opportunities and things like that. And I know Garrett. And
well, listen, I mean, some of the guys ran it earlier than others, but people are just getting priced out of the market, and they don't necessarily want to have a roommate. They don't want to split a house with someone, which is kind of what you got to do.
Yeah.
And, in New York where things got real valuable, I mean, that's what they started doing, start taking flats, you know what I mean, floors. It is a tougher time. Things are very expensive. Every day goes by. I'm worth more because of my little empire that I've created. But I hate it because I got to pass it on. I pass it on. I pass it on to the tenants. So, like I said, if you don't have my book, please get my book. He's been doing this a long time, and love to share. We've got almost 1,000 videos out there. Like I say, quite a few have made money, and you can see those testimonials on at FlipAnythingUSA.com. And there's a link below. Be sure to go down and take advantage of that. And you can call or talk to Darius anytime. Keep watching.
It's going to be multiple offer situation city. So this is terrific, but it does require cash, and it does require your expertise in knowing how to do a mobile home conversion. The reason why a lot of traditional investors don't jump on this, either one, there's a stigma about doing mobile home deals, or it's because they don't know how to do the conversion. But again, I've got a great video on that, so I cut out a lot of the challenges. And so often when someone's asking me these questions, I send them to that video, and they're like, wow, there's so much wisdom in there. I said, yes, I'm rolling out the exact formula of what we do there, because it's not all that complicated. And a part of me wants to help all those that can't become a homeowner. I'd love for those watching this video to do mobile home conversions and to get more home ownership. I mean, it's sad when you see how many of those in their 20s and their early 30s, they've been working hard, they have a good job, but they can't afford a stick-built home. It's just completely out of the realm of possibility, even with low interest rates. All right, so these are the two important niches for 2022 that can make you a whole lot of money. So what do you have to watch out for? This is very important. Those of you who got started in real estate investing in 2022 or 2021, you've been spoiled rotten. You don't understand that real estate doesn't always sell instantly when you put it on the market, even if it needs a lot of work. So a lot of bad habits have developed, either those that just got started or those who for the last year and a half have been punch drunk, if you will, on the ease with which you can sell a property.
Listen, this happens every time property values go up rapidly. And this isn't new. It's just kind of a cycle that goes with inflation and just when an area gets hot in general, but the inflation is what really mostly triggers it. And even back in 2004, I think 2006, in California particularly, that's kind of where I was concentrating at the time, the dot-com bust was happening. But at the same time, the real estate, the rates were pretty low, and people were just making money. And I'm sitting here being more conservative because I had seen the storms before that. And like I say, it brings on this real bull mentality. Like everything you buy just goes up. Everything you buy, you just buy it and then you resell it later and you make $100,000. And you tell people, oh, no, we'll slow down. And then they do it and then they still make money. And you go, wait a minute, maybe they're onto something. But there's a real chance because you can get snagged. And let me explain how. The values are going up because the mentality of the buyer is not how much, it's how much a month. And he's talking about affordability. When he's talking about affordability, he's really talking about how much a month. He's talking about lenders, and these things will qualify for lenders, and you can sell it, and there'll be a lender. Because that's what it is. Most people can't pay cash, and so they pay too much. I'm kind of harsh sometimes. I say the masses are the asses, but the fact is the poor folks are taken advantage of, and that's why I try to, I just try to educate people best I can. You can make a fortune. You can still make a fortune. You can be poor. You can be starting with nothing. It's not a big deal. The key is getting in between what somebody has and what somebody wants. And you can tie up. You don't have to be rich to get a property tied up. You don't have to be able to buy a property. You get it tied up. And like say, you can borrow from a hard money lender, maybe like, myself or Phil, if he's inclined, if he knows, I would only loan to a student too. I wouldn't loan to anybody I don't really know. I just don't want to mess with it, to be honest. I make too much money on real estate to try to make money on a loan. But good information so far. Let's see where he goes.
And sell it for more than what you have it listed for. All right, those days are over. Now, I'm not saying that we're in the pre-pandemic world, but we're now back to a world where you have to be strategic. You have to think clearly about what a property could sell for once you put it back on the market. I have a video on that called Predicting Final Sales Price, where you're estimating what you think it's going to sell for once you put it on the market. Whether you put it on the market as is, whether you fix it up and put it on the market fully renovated, either way, where you have to actually use some level of intelligence to estimate what is going to happen. Because now we're seeing where properties are sitting on the market if they were listed too high. They are dropping their list price. It isn't selling instantly.
He's talking about kind of speculation now when he's talking about guessing where things are going to be down the road. I'm not a big speculator. I like to buy everything under market. I buy relative to whatever the market is today. It's very difficult to predict. Really nobody saw this huge increase. Nobody saw the inflation coming like it was. At least nobody I know, and certainly wasn't produced out there on the news in advance for everybody. It just started happening. And you got to, keep your ear to the ground when you're in real estate anyways. You really got to watch the interest rates. The interest rates have been being pushed down to keep the economy going. And, maybe they'll start going the other way. Who knows? I mean, the only thing I know for sure is I don't know for sure,
So I got a question. So you sold a couple properties last year, and they went up in value because of the shortage of inventory and things like that. But how did you, when it came to pricing it, for sale, how did you know where to price it?
Well, I bought them already far under market. I knew the value, and when I sold them, actually the two that I sold a little bit under market, and I did that for 2 reasons. One, I sold to I wanted to just get a little more cash. I'd already bought quite a few properties, not just about commercial strip center. I bought a couple of big properties aside from a bunch of houses. And so I got a little bit nervous. I thought I want to dump a few, so I bought them under market. I sold them for more than I paid for them, but I still sold them under market. And, now those people are, enjoying an increase of 150 grand since I sold it to them. But I didn't mind it. One was my girlfriend's son, and then the other one was actually was somebody that works for me that was buying it with his mom. I did it just to get some cash back in my hands. And I just want to have a little more cash on hand. And then I watched the prices go up, and then I jumped in 2 months after I sold those houses. I bought 4 more, and now all those I'm making, 200 grand a piece on, maybe 400 grand on the one I bought around Thanksgiving. I spent $10 million during the pandemic. I spent just in 2021 on new homes, new properties, not homes, but buildings and homes. So anyways, let's keep listening.
If it does need work, they're doing a home inspection, and they are trying to renegotiate as buyers. So it's not that it's a buyer's market now. It's still a seller's market. However, you've got to go back to the fundamentals. You have to apply the things that have always worked. For me, it's been almost 2 decades now, and for about a 12-month span, from about mid-2020 to about mid-2021, all of that was thrown out the window. Hey, it was wonderful, right? We all made a fortune. I made an absolute fortune, and that's great. But that was an aberration. It's one time in history. I'll never forget it, but I don't think that's coming back. 2020.
Yeah. He's probably, I can tell he's wrong. There's always going to be there's going to be these opportunities. You know what I mean? He's talking about that being an aberration, some of the money that he's made. It's kind of happened again just now. And I've had it happen a couple times over 40 years. So I've been doing it twice as long as Phil. So, you live long enough, you see a lot of things, First pandemic, I'm seeing it. Other people are seeing it that are in the market. It just, stuff happens. Let's keep watching.
22, we're back to a little bit more normalcy in how the buying and selling of real estate works, in that you do have to be strategic, and you can't just throw anything on the market and make a killing. You've got to be strategic. So watch out for that. Be careful of the bad habits you may have developed. Go back to the fundamentals. Make sure that you list these properties at a low enough price to create multiple offer situations. Don't try to list it too high because you may not have the same results that we experienced in 2020 and 2021.
So he's describing, he's talking as if people already got the property, like selling it. So I'm not sure. But anyhow, using that logic of trying to sell it not at the top of the market, which is of the same deal, but you have to buy it far below market in order to sell it below market. Yeah. And so really, for me, what I teach you in my class is how to find deals. That's the number one thing, how to find deals. And, and then, of course, knowing value is part of it, because you don't know a deal until you find it. And when you find it, you got to know. And if you don't know, then you got to dig in and get that information immediately before somebody else like me comes along that knows that area and just takes it away from you by paying cash. If those of you that are going to, you want to, you're not as strong financially, get it tied up. Get it tied up, because then you can find somebody like me or Phil that'll he'll loan you the money. I'll just offer you an assignment fee, and I'll take your place and buy it, probably, if there's enough meat on the bone. So anyways, that's important that you take a look at that, and we're going to have to run here pretty quick, I can tell, right? So let's just listen to a tiny bit more, and then we'll cut it short.
In fact, from everything we're seeing from all of our apprentices across the United States, it's how it used to be back in the, quote, old days, the pre-COVID days, where you've got to be strategic. Properties are sitting on the market. Buyers are being a little bit pickier. We basically hit almost a glass ceiling, where it was like, okay, real estate prices shot up, so now it's like, okay, we're going to be a little bit more intelligent in our buying process, is what we're seeing. And again, none of this is coming from statistics I can spit out to you. It's coming from our experience in the real world.
Yeah, he probably should be seeing quite a bit more property. Things have kind of leveled off a little bit. And part is because now people can sell where they couldn't. Their hands were tied because the tenants that were inside, tenants weren't paying. And those people that are selling, a lot of those people that have been held hostage by their tenants overstaying their welcome, if they're smart, they know that even if they're suffering a little bit, they know they're going to put on the market, they're going to sell the property for quite a bit more because it's gone up so much over the pandemic. Well, likewise, those same people are inclined to have the mindset of what the value was pre-pandemic, and that's what they're still thinking. And so you approach them to buy it, they may just say, here, yeah, I'll just sell it for X, and it might be significantly less than maybe you were even going to offer. And so there's a lot of opportunities out there. But so, hey, take a look at this, folks, and you'll see a bunch of the properties that I've owned and bought. Some fantastic stories from my, and this is all just in like a 20-second clip. Check this out.
Stop and listen. Time is on a mission to eliminate all the snake oil and the fake gurus that fake y'all. He'll show you how to build an empire, starting with nothing but a desire. All you really need is a good mentor, not a used car bullshit. With time, you'll learn to crush benefit. With real estate, you cannot procrastinate. Everyone who hesitates is left at the starting gate. Hey, yo, so don't delay and join today. The mentorship and flip anything USA. Go.
All right. Well, hey, I hope you enjoyed this video. We'd go just a tiny bit longer, but we got to run into a live show that we're going to do next. Hey, be sure to hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. Darius and I probably go live at least 10 times a week.
Yeah.
And I take questions, any questions you have. I also have private mentorship where, I do Zoom meetings, and all the students are making a fantastic amount of money. It's really been an awesome, I've only been doing this 2 years as far as mentoring. I've been investing for 40, but it's really paid off. The satisfaction and seeing all these success stories. If you go to FlipAnythingUSA.com, you can see we interviewed Ben Mala came in as guest. It was very generous of him. Ben Mala, I have the highest regard for. He's an investor very similar to myself. He's even been more successful, and I think he's been more successful because he had a mentor. I didn't have a mentor, but you can. These folks here, this guy made over $600,000. This one, he's made over $1 million by his estimate. This gal here made $70,000 on just a couple lots. Did it very quickly. This guy here he said in the last meeting he's made over $2 million, close to 2.4. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's got $3 million worth of property and only $600,000 debt, and not a penny out of his pocket. He's got all this money. Eric here's he's damn near a millionaire now too already from real estate, and Chris here has done fantastic. He worked at the church, now he quit the church, now he volunteers at the church, and he runs his Airbnbs and things of that sort. Over here, I'll show you where I've made tens of millions of dollars on different deals, buying land, commercial properties, industrial properties, flipping lots. This is a strip center I bought recently. I'm going to make over $1 million on that when I find something else to buy. Other properties, $1.4 million on this one. There's all kinds of fantastic ways to make money in real estate. You just got to get started. But be sure to check out, be sure to subscribe here, and then go check out the channel, FlipAnythingUSA.com. There's also a discount code in here, and there's things you can do to get free stuff. And anyways, that's it. Thanks, Darius, for hanging out. What else?
No problem.
Anything else we got going?
I'm enjoying this. We got stay tuned around 4 and 10 every day. We usually have some type of content going out 10 a.m., 4 p.m. So just stay tuned with that, and sign up for the webinar if you have it. And that's all I got.
All right. We'll see you.